Are you ready for this? 3 big skills that every parent of a young adult must know and master. Vicki and I are going to get into these 3 skills right away, but first of all, you need to know that the last one we share with you is probably the most powerful.
Most important, remember that these are skills. They're things that we need to practice.
Right. You know, we talk all the time about how it's a choice. Happiness is a choice. It's kind of like, and guitar is a choice too.
Yeah. But these parenting skills are really things that we need to practice. And in our homes, becoming aware is probably the first thing of what the skill is so that we can then practice them and recognize that we're going to make mistakes and we're going to get better at it. And we're going to hone our skill and our ability.
And back to what I said about choice, until you see it as a choice, it's not. And that's why that's so important, what you mentioned, Vicki, about the awareness. You have to be aware of it first. So let's get to that first one.
This is maybe one of the hardest skills that I've had to learn, and that is to detach from the outcome. A lot of times I'll tell people this and like, what, you just don't care what happens to your kids? That's not at all. What we're saying is it really is a skill to be able to talk with your children, teach them and things, but then be detached from their choices. Let them make their choice and live it out. Be there to support them, but be detached from the outcome.
Which doesn't mean you don't care. In fact, I'm glad you mentioned that, Vicki, because we can't ask you to stop caring.
There's no way you can.
And that's what makes this particular skill so hard.
Right.
We get so attached to the outcomes that we lose track of the other skills that are really necessary to establish the relationship.
But our young adults are really going to feel that. If they feel that your acceptance, your approval, anything is attached to the outcome, they have huge red flags. I mean, that is something that's so big in the young adult. They're often, are these people going to approve of me? Are they going to accept me? That is so big in there. They're watching for that. And so if you're attached to the outcome, that means that your showing up in their life is conditional. And so you've got to be detached from the outcome.
I can't tell you how many young people that I've interviewed, both teenagers and young adults, where their belief is they can never be good enough because their parents are so attached to whatever the outcomes are.
Yeah.
It typically will backfire. So that's our first skill, detach from the outcomes. 2 more big skills to go, but before we do that, would you think of someone who would really benefit from this video and click the share button down below to share it with them? Big skill number 2, consultation. This is a new skill, really, because when your kids are younger, you're doing all kinds of things to manage and sometimes micromanage their life.
And you're teaching, you're instructing all of the time. You're training, etc.
And discipline, which is one of the big ticket items for parenting younger kids and especially teens. But young adults are in charge of their own life.
Yeah, remember, you're not driving. They're the ones in the driver's seat. And that's why we pick the word consultation, because when you consult with someone, you recognize that you're listening for their advice. You're kind of going both sides, and that in the end, the young adult is the one that gets to make the choice. And so consultation will help them see that you're here to provide support, provide experience, provide suggestions. So going back to number 1, if we are truly detached from the outcomes, then we can just be in a consultative situation.
Consider how that would feel to be a trusted consultant. I think the goal is to get to the point where our kids, our young adult children, our offspring who are now grown, come to us as a trusted consultant. And that's a whole different skill set. So that's why we listed it as big skill number 2. So Vicki and I talked about what big skill number 3 is, and I lobbied really, really hard for positivity because I'm the positivity guy.
Big surprise, right?
Positivity, enjoyment. It's a skill set that you can develop, and this doesn't just have to do with your adult grown children, but it has to do with every aspect of your life. And that's why I said this is the most powerful one. And Vicki, you were lobbying for.
Well, and the whole idea that you want to have that enjoyment is because you have got to remember that it's all about the relationship at this point.
Yeah.
Our young adult children, they are this whole new adult, and you get to just be fascinated and enjoy the person they have become. And it's a very big journey that they are on, and you get to enjoy watching that journey and building a new relationship because they are no longer your little child. There's going to be so many amazing skills that they're going to teach you. You're just going to stand back in awe at what they can do. And so you just be ready to enjoy who they are and build that relationship, because the consultation isn't going to mean very much if you don't have a relationship with them.
I think this is how it's done, because when you approach this with positivity and enjoyment, and your mindset is one that is supportive of that relationship, it will be much more natural for your child to connect with you and to feel a desire to remain connected to you. Remember, they can fire you at will. And that's why these skills are so important.
Yeah.
Thank you for being here for this video. If you're ready for your next step, cue up the next one. It's about the power of positive parenting and a free gift that we've got for you. Watch that video next.